This is the Digital Insurance Podcast. In exciting interviews, we talk to the leading experts about the latest developments, trends, and technologies for the digital transformation in the insurance industry.
Hi, I'm here with Louise Delage from Insurtech Insights, and we are going to talk about the upcoming trends in the insurance industry for 2024. Welcome, Louise.
Hi, Alex. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So tell me something about Insurtech Insights 2024. What are the key topics this year? What can we expect?
So for Insurtech Insights Europe 2024, things are going very well. We are 2 weeks away from the conference now, and in terms of topics, so this year we aim to, of course, go through all topics, all the traditional ones, but also explore other aspects, go into some niche topics, and explore the future of insurance, of course. And as you of course, I guess you know, Gen AI is in everyone's mouth this year. Last year it was M&A insurance. Now it's Gen AI and all the applications of it. But we also have partnerships, of course, innovation, emerging risk as well with cyber, pandemics, climate-related risks. Also, how to empower females in the industry, how to get a better customer experience as well, personalization, and being customer-centric, I would say.
Very interesting. So you mentioned partnerships. What exactly do you mean by partnerships?
So what do I mean by partnerships? I think it can be two things. It can be M&A, so a carrier acquiring an insurtech, or we've seen, for instance, Aon acquiring a lot of insurtech recently. And I also mean so strategic partnerships in the sense that these two, like carriers and insurtech, like two parties that collaborate together to have exploit some mutual benefits. For instance, if a carrier gets access to innovative technology and solutions through an insurtech, then the insurtech will get, of course, the capacity and the customer base. So it's a win-win situation.
So that definitely makes sense from a strategic standpoint, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's a good way to foster innovation. And I mean, it gives more flexibility to carriers. They suffer from their legacy systems and their rigidity, being like big companies, whereas the new insurtechs are way more agile and are able to go through the cracks and bring this innovation out.
So is that like a plan for insurtechs? So is that like a typical exit plan is to get acquired by an insurer, for example?
I think it depends. I wouldn't say it's being acquired by an insurer, but I would say it's definitely collaborating with them, being under their radar, being out there and be able to discuss and collaborate with them and explore each other's capabilities. And of course, I guess it depends from like an entrepreneurial standpoint, if you like to sell your company or not. That's something different. But definitely having this bond, this relationship with carriers is very important for insurtechs, I think.
So what do you see as like the new strategic partnership in the insurance space? Is there any example that you can think of?
Yeah, of course. In terms of interesting partnerships we're seeing so far, we have Chubb, which is partnering with Revolut, so a fintech, which we classify also as insurtech, of course. It's a good way for Revolut to distribute insurance through Chubb. They use it, I think, with credit cards and travel insurance as well. So that's one good example that we can find so far.
Very interesting. So another topic that you mentioned, obviously, was Gen AI. I do hear a lot about Gen AI recently, and obviously I have done last year as well, but it seems to be emerging more and more as an even bigger topic this year than it was last year. What sort of new developments do you see in the area of Gen AI for this year?
Yes, exactly, Alex, you're right. Like, it's obviously Gen AI is going bigger and bigger this year, as it started last year. And so far, in terms of new developments, it's very diverse and in many areas. So in claims processing, fraud detection, risk assessment, enhancing customer service with chatbots, for instance, and underwriting is really big at the moment. And for instance, I can think of two examples from the Nordics, actually, and from Europe. We have NN Group, which is using transformer-like model like ChatGPT for their call centers to summarize calls and improve claims processing for agents and for customers. And also we have Trigensa that is developing a Gen AI model and large language models with predictive analytics to predict some claims. Because as insurers would say, the best claim is the claims that never happen.
That sounds very interesting. I'd love to figure out, or to find out how exactly that works. I'm sure that there must be at least one talk on the topic at Insurtech Insights, right?
Yes, exactly. Actually, we have the Chief Analytics Officer from NN Group, which will be in our panel about transforming claims with Gen AI. So that should be where they're going to explore this topic and illustrate this topic with their use cases.
Yeah, it's definitely a talk that I'm going to attend. That sounds very interesting. I'm also interested to see what the developments in Gen AI will actually lead to and where we'll be next year when it comes to Gen AI. But obviously, one thing that I think that insurers don't focus on a lot is if you want to use a Gen AI system, or if you want to integrate Gen AI or large language models into your current system, you need the right data structure.
No, definitely. And I think it's something the industry is thinking about a lot. And that's why we're having also a conversation about unlocking valuable data, where we have different experts that are going to discuss how to leverage this data, how to go from unstructured data to structured data to train your models and enhance your Gen AI and your AI capabilities. But actually, I would say that with that comes also the challenge of data and the challenge of regulation. And this is why we're also hosting another panel about compliance and regulation in the EU when it comes to AI and Gen AI. So we're having also a few experts from AXA XL and a lawyer as well that will discuss, the EU AI Act that will come into place in a couple of years in Europe and how it's going to impact the industry on all fronts.
That's super interesting. I'm actually really looking forward to that. So another thing that you mentioned as well was female leaders and trying to get more female leaders in the insurance space. Why is that so important?
I think getting female leaders in the industry is very important because the insurance industry needs to be a representative of the society we live in. With not only females, there's also more diversity as well. And I think it's important to show people in the industry that you can conciliate a career and a family life, which, usually in society, it's more on the women's side to have a pause after you have children, take a break into your career. And also, in my role, when I was recruiting some speakers for the conference, I've seen so many women with really great potential and also a really high expert knowledge, very technical knowledge. Like, for instance, we have an IoT panel, which is quite technical, and we have, out of 5 panelists, we have 3 women on it. So it's usually very complex topics. I've seen more women master it than men, which I think we should promote in the industry, that women are also capable of being leaders. And this is why we're hosting a fireside chat actually with 3 main leaders in the industry, with Praveen Alada from Swiss Re, Amélie Bredber from CNP Assurance, and with Jackie Noakes from Phoenix Group, where they will explore the challenges they have seen in the industry, how they overcame the challenges, and what they're seeing for women in the industry so far.
What can we as an industry do to further nurture that talent?
I think to nurture this talent, there's a big need of recognition, visibility, support, and that's what we aim to do also with Insurtech Insights, work conferences, is put the spotlight on these women and really empower them, and fostering this inclusive culture and giving them a space to be heard. And also, I think when I was speaking with these women and I was asking them the same question, mentoring was something that came out a lot. And I think insurers internally are doing these mentoring programs and these diversity programs to really give a voice to women in the industry and help women, basically.
So what exactly does this mentoring, how exactly does it look like? Is it basically an experienced woman mentoring a younger, maybe Gen Z woman, or what exactly, how can I imagine that?
Yeah, exactly. I think it can take different shapes and forms depending on the career and the companies. But yes, as you said, we've seen some mentoring programs, like a senior member of the company mentoring a younger Gen Z individual. And it's actually quite interesting that you mentioned that, because speaking of Gen Z, when I was speaking with Verena School from Ergo, she told me about more their mentoring program for the younger generation at Ergo. Ergo has this mentoring program when someone from the Gen Z generation is asked to mentor senior people from the company. And it's a good way from the senior people from the company to understand how the Gen Z is acting, how they work, so-called, to understand what are their expectations, and also how they're seeing their work-life balance, for instance, and just work in general. Because of course, we've seen a big of disparities, between people from the Gen Z and millennials, and also people from the older generation. And I also believe that it's something the insurance industry should think about, how to attract these younger talents, how to handle them, how to make the insurance industry attractive to them.
So the roles are basically reversed. So it's the younger individual mentoring the older individual.
Exactly, yeah. And it's a good way, I think, for the younger person to learn a lot and directly. And so, yeah, they can mutually learn from each other.
That sounds super interesting. Because, I mean, obviously, I hear a lot about topics about how can we make the insurance industry sexier for Gen Z talents, and that is definitely that fits into that mold. So that makes it actually that's really interesting.
Yes, exactly. I think it's a good way when the person is already in the industry. And when it comes to attracting like young talents out of from university to the insurance industry, I think there's many ways that the carriers could achieve this. For instance, increasing presence on social media. I know that Lemonade is using TikTok
Hmm.
to raise awareness around its driving insurance policy for younger drivers. Also, I think that to make the industry relevant and attractive for the younger generation, it's important to show what insurance is made for, basically to really show the fact that it's an industry that's here to help people really. Because I think that insurance sometimes can have a negative connotation among the younger generation, or people don't really understand why it's insurance, why it could be interesting. But we need to remind the young generation that actually insurance is there when something like terrible happens to you in your life and it's here to like support you. Because most of the time when people have the first interaction with insurance, it's when something very negative happens and they don't really get see the good side of it. So yeah, of course, I would say increase presence on social media is really important, and also making sure that the workplace is flexible and is aligned with the Gen Z's expectations, and yeah, show them the good sides of it.
Mm. What would you say are the Gen Z's expectations?
Of course, the Gen Z expectations like depends on each people, right? But I would say overall, there's a stronger desire for work-life balance, for more meaning in what they do, and also to work in a workplace that is aligned with their own values.
Mm.
And I'm guessing also this generation is so less loyal to the company they are, and they will like maybe put more emphasis on the people they're working with, or yeah, the meaning behind it, and but they mind less changing jobs and pursuing something they like.
Mm. Well, it reminds me a lot of footballers and football teams, maybe. So they move around after like 1 or 2 years.
Yes, exactly. I think it's a generation that likes to explore and that it doesn't feel bounded or restricted, and like yeah, likes to explore, like to see what's out there, what are the possibilities, and that also like to challenge themselves, I believe.
Mm. Do you have a panel on that or a discussion on that at the ITI?
Yes, definitely. We're having a panel that will explore how the insurance industry can remain sexy and attractive, as you said, for the younger generation, how to attract the talents and then retain them and then scale the workforce and give them really the means to succeed and to thrive within the insurance industry.
Very interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to that one as well. So you've mentioned a couple of panels already. What would you say is the panel or the speaker that you personally look forward to the most?
I think there's a couple, more than a couple actually. We have one about Gen AI, as I mentioned, claims transformation. In Gen AI, we have RGA, the managing director of IGS Europe, on the panel as well, QB Ventures, and the chief analytics officer of NN Group. And I think it's going to be a very strong panel and very, very informative as well. And it's really going to set the pace for what's going to be next when it comes to claims and Gen AI. So yeah, one of the panels that I really look forward to is called Debunking Myths, Coming Back to Reality. And what makes this panel special is we're going to be able to show our audience what's really possible with Gen AI. And we're going to try to not to burst the bubble, but really try to actually be practical and realistic about what can we do and not do with AI. And also something that makes it really exciting in this panel is we're welcoming Christian Westermann, which is a former space scientist that worked on space mission with the NASA in the 90s. And now is group head of AI at Zurich. And he brings this very technical but interesting and diverse perspective in the panel. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That definitely sounds very interesting. So one thing I always ask whenever we do episodes with people from events is, are there any evening events or side events that we need to look out for?
Yes, definitely. It's something we also think about a lot at Insurtech Insights. Actually, my colleague Veronica is hosting Insurtech Week, which is every day we have side events before, during, and after the conference. And within these side events, we have a deep dive on AI and networking drinks hosted by Google, which would be very interesting. And we also have something called Insurtech Brand Building with Lemonade, Ulife, Carbon, and Cover, where we're going to explore how to build Insurtechs, basically.
That is very interesting. We need to see if we can maybe link that on social media. So
Definitely.
if you're interested in that, do check out our LinkedIn page. Yeah, that was basically it. Me personally, I really look forward to attending the ITI in London. Thank you very much for your time and for the discussion, Louise. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, as I said, I look forward to meeting you in London.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. This has been a pleasure. And of course, we're super excited for Insurtech Insights Europe 2024. We're getting very close now, which is very exciting. Really look forward to it as well, and to welcoming everyone at the Intercontinental O2 very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was another episode of the Digital Insurance Podcast. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn and leave us a review on Apple, Spotify, and the rest.